You always ask the questions nobody asks. So
And a lot of it's happening in my own house. Here.
Because it rains so much. Yeah.
That's a good one.
But you're the only person ever who's ever asked me that question. Ever.
Do something fun, have a romance, baby.
Wow, what a presentation.
I can show you my favorite tattoo.
Dude, I'm still laughing about that intro about Jurassic Park and elephants.
She still hasn't got any elephants, so it's a win-win so far.
Those things are always interesting just because I'm so like, scattered.
I find it so funny because we also met before the pandemic. We have a longer history.
Did you really bring that up? That was a private conversation.
I hope people keep thinking that I'm really relaxed while I'm playing and do not realize when I'm playing the difficult parts of the song.
That's a really good question. Again, Mark, yeah, man. Everybody needs to subscribe because Mark here, he asks really good questions. I'll go this way. There he is.
Art needs multiple voices to truly shine.
So that's when I say, okay, you need to really learn how to do it right.
It's bound to come out at one point. So this was what was coming out.
Oh, you sure you're not interested? I was like, don't ask me again. I can't refuse that twice.
Wrecking machine. I'll take it.
9 to 11 years to become a neurophysician.
Anytime I see a breakdown that I'm like, that seems different, I'm in.
Be in their presence, so I conduct my life in a way that I hope that they want to be in my presence as well.
I want to be okay with the fact that 14 years into our marriage, it's nothing like I thought it would be.
There are no magic words I can say that'll turn back time and change things.
I'm just Maddie, and you're just Noah, and maybe that's all we'll ever be.
I thought maybe being here with you I might feel again.
Wanna dance?
Thought you'd never ask. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts, based here in Seattle, Washington, and thank you so much for joining me on this 9th of December, 2021, Thursday. We're getting close to the end of the work week, if you have a Monday through Friday work week like I do. And as always, a few quick housekeeping things before we get to my interview this evening. This Saturday, the 11th at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Leah Ingram is coming back to do a one-on-one interview with me. Leah joined me first on the Alice virtual tour back in 2020 on the first leg of that tour. And she did a few fun table sessions after that, but we have not done a one-on-one since that original interview back in, I want to say it was June of 2020. So it's going to be really fun catching up with her this Saturday. So again, that's at 2 p.m. Pacific. And then on the following Saturday on December 18th at noon Pacific, Dr. Elodie Gintz, who's an emergency room physician in France, will be joining me. Dr. Gintz was my first guest this year, so I thought it would be kind of fitting if we can kind of bookend things and have her come back on, kind of see how the state of the world is over in her neck of the woods with what she's been doing as an ER physician for the last 10 plus years in France. So that's on the 18th, and there's a few other things that are kind of in the works right now in terms of live streams. And so if you'd like to know more about what I have coming up, you can follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word, on Instagram. It's where I post everything first. And then some of that information migrates over to other social media platforms. If this is your first time joining me on my YouTube channel, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button, I greatly appreciate it. And if you'd like to know specifically what's coming up, you can also hit the notification bell, but please be aware that will send emails to your inbox. And if you're on the Twitch side of things, if you could follow me over there, that's where I started all this virtual work during the pandemic, was on Twitch via the Alice virtual tour. So I always love having new followers over there. And I will always maintain a presence on Twitch because that's where I got my start. So let's get to things. My guest today is a multi-talented artist. I came to know her work through the feature film, 7 short films about our marriage, which is available everywhere digitally. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts virtual studio, Chynna Walker. Hi, Chynna. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. That's so sweet. And the intro was so exciting. I'm so glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. And I love talking to the creators behind any work, and particularly with film, because I have no background in film whatsoever. So anytime there's people that and artists that come on, I love talking about that. And I also know you have a music background and some other things. So depending on how much I can squeeze into the time allotted, we'll kind of see what we can get to.
Great. I'm so excited.
Awesome. And Ove, good to see you over in Norway. Thank you for joining me as always. Good to see you, and hopefully things are well. Actually, gosh, it's pretty pretty late over there in Norway right now. It's like what, maybe 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning, something like that. But thank you for joining as always, Ove. So Chynna, let's talk about 7 short films about our marriage, and then we'll kind of see what kind of time we're looking at in terms of what's left with our segment today. So, how did you get involved with this film?
Yeah, so I actually went to Baylor, the university where the director of the film, Chris, he is the department head of the film department at Baylor. And the film was through the school, though I don't know technically. Anyway, yeah, it was through the school because I know they also had a lot of the crew were like students. They could take this class and be part of the crew. So it was through our school. So I knew Chris, and I knew I had another good friend in the film department there, Maverick Moore, and we had worked together before, and he had recommended me for the film, and I auditioned and went through a pretty long audition process. But yeah, and then I got the role. But yeah, so I was connected to it a bit before, just because I went to the school and I knew some of the people involved.
Okay, interesting. So I'm kind of curious. Your co-lead star Drez, was he also associated with the university, or did he come from somewhere else?
No, he's from no, he's not from Asheville. I know he was living in Asheville, North Carolina at the time. So he actually just auditioned when I think they put a nationwide, search for, I think, all the actors in the film. But because I knew some people in it, I was like, I'd like to audition for this too. So I, squeezed in there. But no, he was selected just from a nationwide search, and he auditioned as well.
Okay, so what was this timeline when you were auditioning for the film?
Oh my gosh, it was so long ago now. So I was in my 3rd year of grad school, and it was 2017. That I think at the end of 2017 that I first knew about the film. And as far as I can remember, I'm pretty sure it was a few months of just sending a few different tapes. And I don't think they made a decision until March of 2018. And then that summer we filmed. We started in June. So I think from what I remember, it was a long time ago, but I think I knew I had the role by March or April, because I remember it being the end of grad school. So I kind of remember, but yeah, it was a few months long. I'm just sending a few tapes, and yeah.
Okay, and you mentioned that you started shooting in the summer of 2018, and was this? Did you get all of the principal photography done during the summer, or was it done in chunks?
Yeah, we were there for just 1 month. So we stayed in Waco, Texas, where Baylor is, and I actually stayed with my friend Maverick, who also worked in the film department. I stayed with him and his wife, because we were really close. And so we lived in Waco, and we just got the whole film done in a month. And I think they did some more shooting after we left, but I know me and Drez were just there from June 1st to June 30th. And I'm pretty sure they finished it at the end of the month, but I don't know. I think there's always like something else to film, So yeah, but we were only there for a month.
Okay, and as I've been learning from talking to so many talented directors and producers, screenwriters, actors in the film industry, it's pretty rare when a film is shot in sequence. Was this one of those rarities, or did you guys kind of shoot things out of sequence?
And we had to shoot them out of sequence, and I remember that specifically because I had another really close friend that was the makeup artist, and she had to make us look older. So we start at basically right out of college, and then we end early 30s, early to mid 30s, and that was really difficult for her because I know she had to kind of keep up with, we had to go back and forth in the timeline depending on the filming. And I know like one of the first scenes, I think the first scene in the film where we're talking out of a window at our wedding, I'm pretty sure that we filmed that one of the last days of the project. So yeah, I know. I just remember that specifically because it's difficult to make someone look older, especially with men. Because when they shave, they look a lot younger. So we couldn't I don't know. She had to figure that out. I wouldn't want to be a makeup artist. That would be stressful. But yeah.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Yeah, with the timeline, and especially if there's parts where he has a mustache or he has a beard or he has what.
Yeah, that's a really easy way to make someone look, like they're in different stages of life. But and once you shave it off, you're young, and it's gonna take a while to grow that back. And I know that I remember her not wanting to use like fake hair. So anyway, I can't remember how she figured that out, but she did, and she did a wonderful job.
Okay, and for you specifically with your role of Madison, how did you prepare for that role and knowing what you're going to have to, the deep places you're going to have to go to with that character?
Yeah, it was really difficult, to be honest. It's funny, I watched the film recently and I hadn't in a long time. And it's hard for me to watch myself, to be honest, because looking back, I had no idea what it was like to be a wife, to struggle in the ways that Madison did. And I kind of had to pull from, my own experiences. But they weren't, nearly the same. So it was really difficult. But I remember a big part of that was just I spent a lot of time with the script. We spent a lot of time talking about the script. We actually, I said before, we were there for a month. We were there a little over a month because we got there early. And with Chris, me, Drez, and Chris talked about the script a lot and rehearsed a lot. And that was really helpful and really fun. That's always fun because you just get to kind of dive into the character and the story. But yeah, it was really difficult. And it was the first film I did where I had to get to a really emotional place like that. I had done that in plays before. I did a lot of theater. And it's easier in a play because you have the play behind you. You have the whole night behind you to kind of get to whatever emotional place you have to get to. But with film, it's like, okay, we're filming this in, 5 minutes and you have to kind of just turn it on. And I was very nervous about that. But at the end of the day, it's fun being an actor because you can just kind of use your own anxieties and your own fear, even in the moment of whatever that scene might be. You can use that. I remember the first scene I had to get really emotional with was the one where we were at I don't want to give anything away. I don't know. But something really sad happens and I have to walk out of this door, and in the script it says she walks out and by the end of the sidewalk she's crying, and I was like, I don't know how to do that. And I remember just being really nervous. And once we got the first take out of the way, I was crying from just relief of stress. And then I was like, okay, let's do it again, So a lot of that was me stressed out and then getting some kind of relief from the scenes being emotional. But a lot of it too was just, trying to understand this character and their experience and just have empathy with that, and put myself in that situation. And of course you can always relate, loss and pain and joy and all that to, we've all experienced that in one way or another, in different degrees. So you just, you relate that to your own experiences and move forward. But yeah.
Okay, that's again. Thank you for sharing that. I love hearing the process of everything that actors and filmmakers go through. I've said this many times on my live streams. I'm amazed any film gets made after I hear about all the different work and pieces and things that have to happen.
I never believe a film's gonna be made until I'm watching it. Like every film I've done, I just don't. I'm like, this isn't. I can't get my hopes up because you just never know. You never know what might even happen during filming. You never know. So once I'm watching it in front of me and it's done, I'm like, oh great, that movie was made. I'm so glad. That's kind of how I go about it. But
I kind of heard something similar a while ago from a totally different line of work I was doing, where I had met an actress that was doing a lot of TV commercials here locally in Seattle. And she was like, Mark, I just got my first substantial role in a film, and she was so excited about it. So I was like, oh, do you have any like timeline on when this would come out? Because I don't know how this works. And she's like, I have no clue, because I just have to hope for the best until I literally see it. Then I'll be able to tell you.
yeah, that's with everything. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people have asked me about specific films, short films, or features or whatever that I've been a part of, and I'm like, I don't know when you're gonna see it. I never know, because also a lot of I mostly have done indie film. I've done all indie films, so those go through festival circuits too, and you just never know how long. It depends on the director. It's like, how long do they want to be putting this through? Submitting this to festivals and having them play at them. So you just never know, but it's still exciting.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm slowly this whole year of 2021's been the first time I got credentialed for several virtual film festivals. So it's been interesting being a part of that world, and then like seeing something get picked up or distribution or something coming out later, or something like just kind of didn't go anywhere, didn't know what happened to it after the festival run. And it's been all new to me. So it's been a huge education this year of trying to learn how this whole thing works.
Yeah, it's really complicated. I don't know how it works either. I mean, you tell me. I don't know. Especially because the film circuits and film festival, that stuff. I have friends who are really good about being a part of those things and working hard and submitting to those. And I have a friend who goes to every single festival he can, and it's a lot. There was one year, I think it was 2019, where I went to a bunch of festivals. I made it my mission to go to every one that this one film I was in was going to, and it was fun, but it's exhausting. Like, you have to really like film, and I love film, but I don't want to watch short films for hours on end. It's like, I can do that sometimes, but it's a lot. It's yeah.
I got a taste of exactly what you just said, because even doing it virtually, and I'm not even like driving to a theater physically, I'm just here in my home.
Yeah.
But it's a time suck. And they could be amazing films, don't get me wrong, but if I look at my schedule and there's like 10 things this day and 5 tomorrow, and I have a day job, so it's like I don't have that amount of time to be, let alone I have to write reviews of it later and that kind of thing.
Wait, that's crazy. You were watching them from home. I feel like that would be a lot worse actually for me. I would go crazy, because what's fun about a festival is going, to the theater, seeing other filmmakers, and going up on stage and talking about the films and hearing other people. So I don't know about virtual ones, but kudos to you. That's amazing.
Well, thanks. I know eventually I'll start going in person, because they've already been talking about that here locally with some of the two of them that I covered here in Seattle. So, Mark, you need to come out. We have like this short run of this thing going on for 2 weeks, and we have this thing going on. I'm like, okay, I'll just have to see, realistically how I can fit this in. But don't get me wrong, I'm super grateful for any opportunity, but it's just like, I've got to have balance.
Yeah. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of commitment, but I think a lot of them, though, do weekends and stuff. So anyway.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll figure it out. But I'm curious, and you kind of touched on this already, but with your character of Madison and Andres too, in terms of what Noah goes through, both characters are wanting something in their life. There's a dream that they want to fulfill that doesn't quite happen, and which a lot of people can relate to. I can relate to that kind of thing. Is there anything for you personally in your own life or professionally that you're like, I wanted to do this, and this lines right up along with that character?
Oh, wow. I mean, yeah, definitely. This last year has been really, I mean, the last year and a half, you know, it's just been the weirdest. And I think, like, I was living in LA. I went to grad school in California, and then I graduated in 2018, and I moved to LA, and I lived there until last year. And I moved because I just never liked living there. And I was, you know, spending so much time, you know, focusing on acting. I love acting so much, and I'd love to spend my life doing it. But it, you know, I think this last couple of years has just kind of put things into perspective of just what's really important to me. But it also has really confused me. It's like I don't know exactly what I want to be doing. I love acting, but it takes a lot of sacrifice, and it's hard. It's hard to get consistent work as an actor. And so, yeah, I'm kind of in that place right now of like, you know, acting has been really hard. Like, I don't know, do I keep doing this? I'm taking like a small break right now. Not really. I mean, I'm still submitting for things, but I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself. I'm letting myself just be a normal person. But that would probably be the thing that I would relate to, actually, is just like, you just life never goes the way you expect it to. And that's part of the reason why I said too, like, I'll watch the film now and be like, oh, I wish I could do it now. Because I actually feel like I have a lot more experience with just heartbreak or just like struggle, just, you know, than I did then. And I think it would actually have been a better performance. But I mean, you know, everyone's really critical of themselves when they do. You know, most actors I think are. So, but yeah, I definitely relate to that. I think everyone probably could. And if you can't, then that's, you know, lucky you. That's great.
Yeah, for people, if you haven't had a chance to see the film, yeah, please check it out. And I think there's going to be themes. It doesn't matter if you're in a marriage or a relationship, even, that you're going to find things just in life that you can like, oh yeah, I've been there. I might be there right now of what those characters are going through. Right. And I think that's one of the reasons, like I mentioned to you, Chynna, pre-show, that, you know, that I rewatched the movie. And typically, I just don't get a chance to do that because there's a laundry list of things for me to get through. So I'm like, I don't have free time. But this one, I wanted to sit there and just take it in for what it was a second time. Yeah. And yeah, your two performances, yours and Drez's, are just magnificent in this film.
Thanks. Drez was a really wonderful partner. I was really grateful to have him, and we felt very comfortable with each other. So, and it's, you know, it's hard to. It can really make an experience hard when you don't feel that for your you know, co-lead. So I was really grateful for that.
Well, it definitely came across on film. So because I know, like, when I first watched it, and again, I won't spoil it either, but the first scenes early on in the marriage, I'm kind of like, either this is going to be a really interesting film based on the chemistry that you two have, or it's just going to fall flat on its face. Because it's basically about the two of you, the entire film. Yeah. And it was something that was like, no, there's chemistry immediately. And then the dialogue that Chris wrote and everything else, was like, this is really working so well that I just got sucked into it.
I'm so glad. I know that, you know, it's really, I think it is a really honest look at relationships in a way that I didn't even really realize when I did it, to be honest. You know, and I think that has, from what I've heard from people, that's the you know, most wonderful thing about it is just that it's really honest, and it kind of shows you how hard it can be, but how beautiful it can be too. Anyway, and so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and I'm not maybe the I haven't seen like a ton or reviewed a ton of relationship-based films, but so even for someone like myself, it didn't go into like a, you know, a sappy, cheesy area at all, and it wasn't so brutally honest that you go, oh my gosh, I can't watch any more of this. It's just depressing. It's like the kind of slice of life, in a sense that, like you said, there's ups, there's downs, there's things that people are going to be able to relate to it. And then, yeah, just again, being able to watch and rewatch performances, like, wow, look at all those other kind of things that were going on that I missed the first time through, or even the second time through. I'll probably watch it again tonight and for a third time and see.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm glad.
Yeah, and I do know that we have some limited time. So before we run out of time, at least maybe with this session, maybe down the road or in 2022, we can get back together and do another one. Can you briefly tell me about your music career?
Oh, career is a strong word. No, I music is just something that is fun. You know, I don't really, I wouldn't know how to make it a career, but I've always loved to sing. My dad is a singer as well, or I used to be. Can't really sing anymore, but he was the lead singer of his band, and he's always been in bands. Not they're cover bands, and he plays a lot in Oklahoma. But he's known in Oklahoma and in Norman, where he plays. But yeah, I just music has always been a part of my life, and I love to sing. I can't really play instruments very well. I kind of just make up my own way of playing them. But I mostly love, writing melodies and kind of lyrics. That's always been very, not always actually, only for the last maybe 10 years has been a way of processing. I'm a very emotional person, so it's a way of processing things. But yeah, I have this song that my partner is actually an incredible musician as well as me. No, he's actually a really great musician. And I asked him to look at this one song I had done a couple years ago, and he made it like a million times better. And I'm gonna put it on Spotify at some point. But yeah, career is a strong word, but I do love music, and I do have dreams of putting music out there, more music, because I really love it. And I've been actually taking like classes and things. I'm in this mode of learning. I just want to learn a lot of things. So I'm going to take a class on production and try to do that myself, because that's the big thing for me, is that I lack in skills related to production, and it limits me a lot. And also I can't play instruments very well. So yeah, but I do have one song I'm putting out there someday, and then the rest I definitely have dreams of that as well. But yeah.
Okay, well, no, that's exciting. I whenever you get to that point of getting ready to release that song, I would love to, if we don't connect sooner than that for another interview, I would love to talk to you about that, because I'm a musician myself. So that's where.
Amazing. Well, I can send it to you too. I think I have it somewhere. But if
Okay.
yeah, I'll let you know when it's released. It's grand released to the world. Yeah.
Awesome. And one last kind of like interesting thing, when I was preparing for this interview, I saw on your website, on your resume, and I don't even know if that you know that it's still sitting there on the bottom part of it, about fitting a fist in your mouth.
Oh, I think I forgot that was on there. All right, I can show you. Would you like me to show you?
That's completely up to you. I just didn't know if that was some sort of in joke or something that you can actually do.
No,
or...
I can do it. I have a really big mouth and I have really small hands. So, okay, it's kind of awkward, but yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's fun. Yeah.
Okay. Has that ever come up in an audition or a role or anything?
Ever. No. I mean, I don't know why I put that on my resume. I think I was just trying to be funny, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I noticed it.
I'm glad. Good. I've never been asked to do that before, so that's great. I'm glad it was put to use, you know.
There we go. So yeah, keep it on that resume now.
Thank you. I will. I definitely will.
But I do see that we are out to the end of our times for this segment. And but I want, again, thank you so much for taking the time. I really love the film, and I know that you've been doing some other things. So whenever maybe I'll talk with you offline and kind of see when there might be another time to kind of come back together when we can continue this as a part 2. If you look through my YouTube channel, you'll see that I love having guests come back. I don't like doing one and dones at all. And so yeah, I think that we're just kind of scratching the surface here with your talent and everything else that you have going on. So I would love to learn more about it.
Well, I have a movie on Amazon if you want to watch it.
Okay.
And we can talk about it next time. It's a lot different than this one, actually. It's a comedy horror film, so you can watch that one too. But I'll tell you about it later.
Okay, that sounds awesome. Yeah, and we'll talk offline so I can prepare.
Yes, perfect.
Well, thank you so much, Chynna. Have a safe and pleasant evening over there in the Central Time Zone. And yeah, happy holidays to you, and thank you again for taking the time tonight.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I loved it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.